Dear learners, hope you are all doing well. Happy to see you all again in this module. In the last module, we explored event driven programming using Turtle. Hope you enjoyed that module. In this module, we are introducing another interesting concept, GUI programming, that is graphical user interface programming. Most of the programs we have written in all our earlier modules till now are text based programming except the last module, but many applications need GUI, that is graphical user interface. A GUI program consists of a collection of graphical components that are placed inside a window. The components are placed inside the window. Therefore, the window acts as a container to hold various GUI components. A container is an area on the screen that contains smaller area. That is, the window is a container in which the components such as buttons, menus, scroll bars, etc. are placed. Fine. How can we do GUI programming in Python? Python offers multiple frameworks for developing GUI applications. Some of them are tkinter. It is the easiest among all to get started with. It is the most commonly used toolkit for GUI programming in Python. JPython. It is the Python platform for Java that allows Python scripts to access Java class libraries for the local machine. WXPython. It is open source cross platform GUI toolkit written in C++. It is one of the alternatives to tkinter which is bundled with Python. Then comes PyGUI. It is a graphical application cross platform framework for Unix, Macintosh and Windows. Among all GUI options, tkinter is the most commonly used framework. Python with tkinter is the fastest and easiest way to create the GUI applications. All we need to do is to perform certain steps. First, import the tkinter module. Then, create the GUI application main window and then add one or more of the GUI components to the GUI application. Finally, enter the main event loop to take action against each event triggered by the user. Okay, let us now write a code snippet in Python that demonstrate these steps. The first step is to import tkinter module. The second step is to create a parent or an application window where we place our GUI components. Then we can add as many GUI components as we want to have on the application window. Then finally, invoke main loop method to take action against each event triggered by the user. Let us now run and see what happens. So, we have an application window created by the script what we have written now. First, let us enumerate the commonly used GUI components. GUI components are commonly called as widgets or controls. There are a number of widgets supported by tkinter. Let me present some of the commonly used widgets as well as a brief description about them. So, here you can see the commonly used GUI widgets available under Python. First, we have button, which is used to display buttons in your application. Then canvas. Canvas is used to draw shapes such as lines, ovals, polygons, etc. Then we have commonly used widgets such as check button, label, list box, message, radio button, scroll bar, text, as you can see on the screen. We will see examples for some of them. Before taking a look over these widgets, we will have to understand the geometric configuration of the widgets which can organize the widgets in the parent windows. There are 3 methods for organizing the widgets on the parent window. They are: first method is to use pack method. This method organizes the widgets in blocks before placing in the parent window. The next option is to use grid method. This organizes the widgets in a grid, that is table like structure, before placing on the parent window. Then the third option is to use place method. This method organizes the widgets by placing on specific position specified by the user. Let us now move on to a few examples using these widgets. The syntax of all these widgets is almost similar. So, we can see the syntax of label widget on the console. So, what you see here is the syntax for label widget. So, label widget can be created by using label method, which takes 2 parameters. The first one is master, which represent the parent window object, and following that we have number of options which are used to change the format of the widget as second parameter. The number of options can be passed as parameters or separated by commas. Some of them are BG to set the background color, FG to set the foreground color, that is the color of the text, command which is to call a function, font to set the font on the label, etc. First, we will take a label widget. A label is a tkinter widget class which is used to display text. The label is a widget that lets the user just view but not to interact with. Shall we try an example? So, the first 2 steps: import the required module and create GUI application window. Then the third statement: set the title of the application window. Next, we create a label object using label method of tkinter class with required options such as text height, width and background color, foreground color, etc. The pack method organizes the label widget in a block. You can see the effect of this statement when you run the script. The main loop is given to take action against each event triggered by the user. When you run, you can see what happened, what got happened. So, the background color is changed to red and foreground color, the text color is changed to blue. Clear? Then we will see about button widget. The syntax is similar to the label widget with a few additional options. You may refer any online resources for getting them known. Now, we will go through an example for using button widget. You can also display images in place of text. So, do the usual stuff. The first 2 steps: import the required module and create a GUI application window. Then we have set the title of the application window as button widget demo. Then we have defined call me function. In the function, we just have a print statement which prints the string on the shell. Next, we create a button object using button method of tkinter class with required options such as text, width and command attribute, which will call me function when the button is clicked. Then we have pack method which organizes the button widget in a block. As I said earlier, you can see the effect of this statement when you run the script. Then main loop is given to take the action against each event triggered by the user. Now, let us execute the script and see the output. Just resize and see. See the title. On clicking the button, when you click, a string is displayed on the shell. Click it multiple times and see the output. Got it? The next widget we are going to see is check button. The check button widget is used which allows the user to make multiple selection from a number of different options. This is different from a radio button where the user can select only one option. You can also display images in place of text. The syntax is again same as for that of label. Watch the console for an example. So, do the usual stuff. First two steps: import the required module and create the GUI application window. Then we set the title of the application window as checkbox widget demo. Then we add a label widget that prompts the user to choose one or more option. Then we add three check buttons, each one for one language. Then we place 3 widgets on the application window using pack method. Then main loop is given to take action against each event triggered by the user. Now execute and check what happens. So, check one or more options, see nothing happens. In the example just now we have seen, it just allows us to choose multiple options, but nothing happens when you choose the options. So, we will improve this example a little bit. A check button etc. can be associated with a Python function or method. When a button is pressed, tkinter calls the associated function or a method. To do so, we have an option called variable for a check button. This control variable tracks the current state of the check button. Normally, this variable is an int var and 0 means cleared, that means not selected, and 1 means set, that means selected. Int var can be used with the widgets to track the changes to the entered value. The check button and radio button widgets require these variables to work properly. Watch how to use int var to track the status of a variable. So, this script is extended from the previous script. Additionally, we have added 3 variables var1, var2 and var3. These variables holds integer. In the check button objects, we use the variables options that connect the widgets directly to the application window. Then we create a button object that uses command option to invoke the function var status. In the var status, we have displayed the status of check button, whether it is chosen or not. Then as I said, we have created a button object that uses the command option to invoke the function var status. Then as we did earlier, we place all the widgets using pack method. Then we run and watch the output. After choosing a few options, either Java or C++ or Python, see what you are getting. The chosen options are shown with value 1 and 0 for not chosen, right? Right. Now, you would have understood how to track changes in the check button widget. Now, we will move on to the next widget, radio button. A radio button, sometimes called option button, is a GUI component which allows the user to choose only one of the predefined set of options. For radio button, the syntax is same as check button. So, we will directly move to an example. Let us rewrite the example we used for the radio button. I think I no need to explain the first 4 statement, you can understand easily. Then we have defined a function var status wherein we display the choose an option from the radio buttons. Then we define var1 of type integer to track the status of the widget. Here we have just defined only one variable to track the status of the widget, but while using checkbox we have used multiple variables. Why is it so? The reason is that in check button you can select multiple options and option from each button need to be tracked, but in radio button you can choose only one option. So, one variable is enough to track the status. Then we use the set method of var1 object to initialize the choice, that is when the choices are displayed the first choice will be shown with checked status. Then we add 3 radio buttons for listing the language. Here again notice that we have used only a single variable to track the status of all radio buttons. In addition, we have included a command option to invoke the var status function. Then we use grid method to organize the widget on the parent window. Shall we run and see the result? So, when you choose an option, you can see the selected option on the shell. Also observe that when you resize the window, the widgets will not be repositioned, but if you have used pack, then the widgets get repositioned when we resize the window. Then what is next is the next widget is text. It can be possible, though main purpose is to provide simple multi-line text. Using text widgets, it can be used as simple text editors or even web browsers. Let us see a simple example to create and show a text box. So, this is a simple script that adds a text box to GUI. We use text method to create text object with specific width and height. Then as usual we call pack method to place the widget on the parent window. Then now run and check the output. So, we have got a text box wherein we can type the text whatever we want to type. So, it accepts multi-line text. As you can see, here we are typing multiple lines. The next widget is message box. This widget provides a multi-line and non-editable object that displays the text, automatically breaking lines and justifying their contents. It is very similar to label widget, except that it can also automatically wrap the text maintaining a given width. Let us watch an example. So, after the usual statements, we have created a message object using message method. The text option says that text to be displayed inside the message box. Please note that an option relief. This specifies the appearance of the decorative border around the message. Other than group, there are other options like relief, ridge, raised, etc. Later you can try these options. Then we have grid method to place the widget and main loop to trigger the event. Okay. Let us see the output. So, when you see the output, can you see the border around the message box? This is because of the group option. Then we will move on to the next widget, list box. The list box widget is used to display a list of items from which we can select an item from it. Once you created a list box, you can insert into the list box object and adds item to it. Let us see an example to display a list of objects and the chosen item. After importing tkinter module and adding title and list box to the parent window, we are inserting the list of items to the list. tkinter dot end means we are inserting the items at the end of the list. Then we bind the double clicking of the mouse event to the list box and calling the get item function. In the get item function, we receive the event, that is double clicking of the mouse. Then we use cursor selection method of the list object to find the currently selected item and store its position in index variable. And get method is used to find the text at the specified index and the text is displayed. Then finally we pack and call pack and main loop method. Check the output by running the script. When you choose an item, it is displayed on the cell. See, so when we have to double click on the item to get them seen on the screen. When you single click, you will not get it because the event is double click. So, you have to double click on the item to see them on the screen. We have seen around 8 widgets, but the list of widgets is huge. I suggest you to refer some online resources for other widgets. So, we have come to the end of this module. Let me just rewind and recap what we have learnt in this module. In this module, we saw different framework for developing GUI application in Python. In particular, we have explored tkinter framework. We explored a few widgets supported by tkinter and developed simple applications using these widgets. We have looked into how to organize widgets on the parent or application window. As I mentioned earlier, we have many other widgets too. As this is an introductory course for problem solving using Python, we have not gone through all of these widgets. If you are interested, refer online resources. Well, thank you all. See you all soon.